Brought to you by DK Audio.
DK Audio presents The Taylor Book, the ultimate guide to the music, life, eras and legacy of an icon, written and read by Mackenzie. The Phenomenon. Taylor Swift is bigger than... You can finish that sentence in almost any way you like and it'll probably be accurate. The NFL, the Beatles, hummus. Taylor Swift is such a big deal on such a massive scale that those that don't get it are baffled, possibly because we're being constantly told that monoculture no longer exists, that we all exist in algorithmic bubbles of our own niche. That doesn't apply to Taylor. Unlike most stars who peak around album 1, 2 or 3, Taylor has gotten bigger with each release. Has this ever happened in the history of music? The answer is no. She started off big and continued to double and double and double her fan base until she was selling more records than anyone while simultaneously breaking records like it was a low-key hobby. How did we get here? With talent, hard work, and her heart on her sleeve, Taylor really does give everything she can to make the best records, to challenge herself and deliver work that's commercially and critically appreciated. For her fans, this is what sets her apart. That commitment speaks as loud as, if not louder than, her florid use of rhyming couplets. Despite what Taylor, the doubting perfectionist, might think, musically speaking, she can do no wrong. When Taylor Swift went into hiding, when the Taylor Swift is over party had social media in a headlock, no one could have predicted what would happen next. Was she over? Of course not. What happened next was that Taylor made iconic album after iconic album, each filled with classics that built upon her legacy and added to it. Nothing she's done professionally thus far has been a significantly bad move. There have been no musical missteps because she is the talent and she is in control. She was gutted that Reputation wasn't as well received as 1989, but fast forward a few years and there are more rep stands than there are cat hairs on her sofa. In time, everything makes sense. Even Evermore, especially Evermore. The Tortured Poets department was a lot to take in, but imagine a world without it. Literally unthinkable. Taylor fans aren't just a fandom, they're a community. Blondie has fewer followers on Instagram than some, but no one has a bigger following on Reddit, the most social of social media platforms. That tells us something, that her appeal is deeper than her image. It's her artistry that brings all the keyboard tappers to the thread. People are desperate to get together to talk, dissect, deconstruct and champion her art, music, videos, collaborators, lyrical prowess, dodgy single choices and album sequencing, because her work demands attention and interpretation. This book will take you through all of this and more. It contains in-depth analysis of every single album and Taylor's version, alongside her songwriting process, musical inspirations, iconic fashion moments, friendships, relationships, fandom, us Swifties, contextual lore, and so much more. As we travel through each era, there's a fan favourite and an iconic music video to look at in greater depth, so whether you're partial to Getaway Car or Willow, Back to December or Hits Different, you're covered. Non-Swifties often want to understand why we're so invested, why she means so much. That's when we feverishly click open the Taylor Swift songbook to cherry-pick conversation-worthy songs. Wildest Dreams or August are no-brainer go-tos for starters. Some people will vibe with False God and Dress, or get their chill on to Snow on the Beach. Others crave something that slaps, like Bombastic Florida, or get sucked in by the gossipy Is It Over Now and All Too Well. Some claim to find the specificity of Taylor's lyrics off-putting, but Taylor connects because we all relate to feelings of disappointment, recklessness, regret and betrayal. While songs like I Hate It Here and the criminally neglected It's Nice to Have a Friend have universality baked in. Choosing which song to focus on in more detail wasn't an easy task with a discography like Taylor's. Taylor Swift is not a perfect pop star. Like everyone, she's flawed, and that's a good thing. Perfection is boring, we don't want it. In the future she should lean into that mess, her mess, and do whatever she wants. It's worked so far. Ask the traffic lights if it'll be alright, and they will absolutely say, yes! Just wait till you hear what our girl's doing next. Chapter 1. Taylor Swift is not from Nashville, but she set her sights on becoming the town's biggest star when she was a mere 10 years old. Obsessed with country music, Taylor began to write and play her own songs. It's hard to argue with a tween and their dream, so Andrea and Scott Swift agreed to take their daughter for a trip to Nashville to check it out. Taylor took the opportunity seriously, hitting up record companies to hand out her demo CDs. At just 13 years old, the girl on a mission secured a development deal and persuaded her parents to move 3 states down from Pennsylvania to Tennessee, the darn tootin' home of country music. 3 years later, she was wowing the crowds at the Grand Ole Opry, releasing her record-breaking debut and nurturing a not inconsiderable fan base who'd been patiently waiting for someone like Taylor to come along. Album examined. Taylor Swift. Album credits. Label, Big Machine Records. Released, 24th of October 2006. Album photographer, Andrew Orth. Produced by Nathan Chapman, Robert Ellis Orrell. Highlights. Best bridge, Should Have Said No. Addictive chorus, Our Song. Saddest song, Tied Together with a Smile. Listening to Taylor Swift's first album is like watching the first season of The Simpsons. Everything's there, but it's a little bit off. Her voice is different, there are banjos where you don't expect them, and everyone's driving pickup trucks in faded blue jeans. We're used to Taylor the globe-conquering pop star, but this is the twangy origin story, intimate, confessional, and country as hell. The good news is that it's not embarrassing. Taylor may have written some of these songs when she was 12, like The Outside, but instead of sounding bratty and teenage, the album sounds truthful and teenage. The album documents the experience of Taylor's school days, a time which Taylor felt was zipping by so fast that she wanted to capture it before it was gone. The very first thing you notice when listening to the record now is how different Taylor sounds. Taylor had been listening to country music for 10 years when she recorded her debut. She had been living and working in Nashville, and that comes through loud and clear like a coyote on a prairie. Some of the stretched-out vowels are not something we would even recognize as being Taylor. The country might be dialed up to 11 out of 10, but Taylor sings with so much passion that we believe her anyway. The sheer force of her lyricism, storytelling and delivery sucks you in and keeps you there. Taylor co-wrote or wrote entirely all the songs on her debut, which lends an intimacy to the listening experience, like she's extending a hand to us and inviting us into her world. That's pretty powerful and one reason why she resonates today, an age where authenticity is a revered currency. The album kicks off with a bittersweet love song, her signature, and it hits like a hammer. Her debut single, Tim McGraw, was written in 15 minutes one day after school. Taylor said she went to see her co-writer Liz Rose, and after a quarter of an hour at the piano, they'd fleshed it out. At the time, she said, "It may be the best 15 minutes I've ever experienced." Taylor said she didn't think the song was special when she wrote it, but when the record company heard it, they said, "Well, that's your first single," and so of course she chose it to open the album. In Tim McGraw, Taylor tells a departing lover to remember her in a certain way, something she would explore again in Wildest Dreams on 1989. She was taking control of the narrative and creating a personal iconography right from the start. Believe her when she tells you she's the mastermind. She is. There are so many ways that Taylor Swift surprises us. Here's one to kick off with. The album opens with Tim McGraw, a song about Taylor being in a couple and having a song, and closes with Our Song, a song about Taylor being in a couple but not having a song until she writes one herself on a napkin. Taylor doesn't ask permission to be the next big thing, she breathes it into being. Her music is the music that will soundtrack the lives of millions of people. Audacious. Taylor knew that to stand out, her debut single had to work as hard as she did, and that included the title. Picking one of country music's biggest names to front her song made DJs stop, pick up her CD and play it. She may have started something of a trend. Since then, Lady Gaga released John Wayne, Ariana Grande released Pete Davidson, and Nicki Minaj released Marilyn Monroe. Of course, Taylor wasn't the first to give a song title the name of a celebrity. The daddy of all pop stars, David Bowie, famously used the idea with tracks Andy Warhol and Song for Bob Dylan on his 1971 album Hunky Dory. Teardrops on My Guitar is an early hit that gets slept on. The fake-out before the chorus is such a masterful move. Taylor's voice rises and we, the listeners, take a deep breath, ready to belt out the chorus. But no, Taylor's voice drops back down. It isn't time for the chorus at all. She was tricking us. She's making us wait for the release, then goes back to the verse to tell us more about that scoundrel Drew. If you think about it, it's like she can't tear herself away from him, even to sing the song, like she's been distracted from the chorus. Genius. Another early favourite is the banjo banger Picture to Burn, a honky-tonk takedown where Taylor lets her Avril Lavigne out. The Nashville drawl is working hard on this one, but Picture to Burn is Taylor's first perfect burn. Stay Beautiful is a jaunty...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?